Good morning, girls. In the last class, we learnt about the socio-political condition of Arabia before the birth of Prophet Muhammad and the changes that happened after the birth of Prophet Muhammad. We also learnt the basic principles of Islam and the migration of Prophet Muhammad to Medina. Now, today we'll be learning about the Caliphate. Beginning of Caliphate. Prophet Muhammad's successors are called caliphs or khalifas. The headquarters or the capital of the kingdom is called the Caliphate. The successors of Prophet Muhammad. Successor means someone who comes after. The ones who came after Prophet Muhammad, they were known as the caliphs or the khalifas, and the capital of their kingdom is called the Caliphate. Religious and political authority were combined in the caliphs. Now these caliphs, they had both religious and political authority. Authority means power. They had both religious and political powers. This filled them with zeal. Now, zeal means intense energy. So they had great energy. They had intense energy. They had great enthusiasm because they were given both political and religious authority. The main objectives of the caliphate were to retain control over the tribes and to raise resources for the state. Now these caliphs, the caliphate, they had two main objectives. The first objective was to retain control over the tribes. Now retain means to continue doing something. So their first objective was to continue having control over the tribes. And the second objective was to raise resources for the state. Their second objective was to raise resources for the state. Now, to run a state, you need to have certain resources. So the caliphate, they aimed at raising those resources to find out and to increase those resources so that they could run their state. They extended their territories in Syria, Palestine, Egypt, North Africa. They also conquered territories of Byzantine and Persian empires and made Jerusalem the third holy city of the Muslims after Mecca and Medina. So initially the caliphs, they were confined only in the Arab region, and gradually they began to extend their territories in Syria, Palestine, Egypt and North Africa. And we also learned that the two holy cities of the Islam were Mecca and Medina. So when they conquered the territories of Byzantine and the Persian empires, they made Jerusalem their third holy city. Thus, under the rule of the Caliphate, the Arab Islamic State controlled the vast territory between the Nile and the Oxus, Amu Darya. So, the Caliphate, which were initially based in Arab, they began to control the vast territory between the Nile and the Oxus. Now, Nile is a river in Egypt and Oxus is a river in Asia. So, they had control over the vast territory between the Nile, which is in Egypt, and Oxus, which is in Asia. However, with territorial expansion, the unity of the community was threatened by conflicts over the distribution of resources and offices. So when they began to expand their territory, they began to have conflicts among themselves. Conflicts means any disagreement. So when the territorial expansion happened, they started having disagreement. They started having conflicts among themselves. Now these conflicts were over the distribution of resources and offices. Now, the conflicts, they were over the distribution of resources, how these resources should be distributed or where they should be distributed, and over the distribution of offices. Offices means any powerful position, whom to give power, who should be put in power. This led to civil wars which destroyed the caliphate based in Medina. So when they began to have conflicts, when they began to have disagreement among themselves, there began civil wars. They began to have civil wars, and this destroyed the caliphate which was based in Medina. It was under the Umayyad dynasty, a prosperous clan of the Quraysh tribe, that a second round of consolidation began. So when they began to have civil wars, they destroyed the caliphate, And under the Umayyad dynasty, which was part of the Quraysh tribe, prosperous means any successful or well off, and clan means it refers to a group of families or people who are interrelated. So the Umayyad dynasty, which was part of the Quraysh tribe, it took the initiative of uniting the caliphate. Now we learn about the Umayyad dynasty. In the period between 632 CE and 660 CE, after Prophet Muhammad's death, there arose three caliphs, Abu Bakr, Oman and Osman. So after the death of Prophet Muhammad, there were three caliphs, there were three successors to Prophet Muhammad. They were Abu Bakr, Oman and Osman. They all ruled from Medina. Then the caliphate shifted to Kufa near ancient Babylon. So initially these caliphs, they ruled from Medina, and later on they shifted the caliphate to Kufa, which is near the ancient Babylon. After the assassination of Omar in 644 CE, the Umayyads succeeded to the caliphate and remained in power until 750 CE. So after Omar was assassinated, after Omar was killed, the Umayyads, they succeeded to the caliphate and they remained in power until the 750 CE. During this period, the Islamic conquests were checked. They could not penetrate further into Europe. So during this period, during the period of Umayyads, the Islamic conquest means it means the act of conquering, the process of conquering. So their conquests, they were checked. Checked means they were examined carefully and they could not penetrate. Penetrate means enter into. They could not penetrate further into Europe. The conquest of the Umayyads, the Islamic conquest, they were continuously examined and they could not enter into Europe. There arose a dispute of succession between the Umayyads and the Abbasids. Dispute means argument. So they began to have arguments, they began to have disagreement over the succession, who should succeed, whether the Umayyads should succeed or the Abbasids should succeed. The Umayyads made Damascus their capital instead of Medina. During this period, the Arab Empire extended from Afghanistan, Balochistan and most of Central Asia in the east to Morocco in North Africa and a large part of Spain and France in the west. So the Umayyads, when they came to power, they changed Medina. They made Damascus their capital. Now Damascus, it's a city in Syria. So they made Damascus their capital. And during this period, the Arab Empire, it expanded widely. It extended from Afghanistan, Balochistan and most of the Central Asia. They had control of most of the Central Asia and a large part of Spain and France. They built beautiful cities like Baghdad, Cairo and Damascus and encouraged agriculture, industry, trade and commerce. All this made the empire prosperous. So that when they began to expand their territory, they built beautiful cities. The cities they built were Baghdad, Cairo and Damascus, and they encouraged people to do agriculture, to take part in industry, trade and commerce. And all this, it made the empire prosperous. It made the empire more successful. During the reign of Abd al-Malik and his successors, both the Arab and Islamic identities were strongly emphasized. So during the rule of Abd al-Malik and his successors, during his rule, the Arab and Islamic identities means their characteristics, their individualities, these rulers began to emphasize, to give importance, to stress on the Arab and Islamic identities. Now, how did they stress on the Arab and Islamic identities? He made Arabic the language of administration. So, Abd al-Malik, he made the Arabic as the language of administration. He replaced the earlier coins, which were copies of Byzantine and Iranian coins, and got Arabic inscriptions struck on the gold dinar and silver dirham coins. So initially the Arabic coins, they were just copies of Byzantine and Iranian coins. So Abd al-Malik, he replaced those coins with gold dinar and the silver dirham coins, and on these coins he struck the Arabic inscriptions. Inscriptions means writings. So he struck the Arabic writings on these gold dinar and the silver dirham coins. He also constructed a monument called the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. This monument is associated with the night journey of the Prophet to heaven, Miraj. And he also, this Abd al-Malik, he constructed a monument called the Dome of the Rock, and it is situated in Jerusalem. And this monument, it is associated with the night journey that Prophet Muhammad did to heaven. Now you can see here picture of the Dome of the Rock, which is in Jerusalem. And in this picture you can see this green region was the Islamic Arabic state under Prophet Muhammad, and after Prophet Muhammad the extended Islamic region, you can see this orange region, it extended to almost a huge part of the world. So this is all for today. We learned about the caliphate, the beginning of caliphate, and also the Umayyad dynasty. I want you all to go through these two topics. So that's all for today, girls. Thank you.